Morning, it's Willie at Iron Horse Truck Services. So today we're going to talk about some basic wiring circuits. We're going to actually build a circuit. So to start with, we have a switch, we have a fuse holder. With the fuse, we actually have a holder for the relay. Makes your wiring a whole lot cleaner. We have the relay that has the mount, so you can screw it to a wall somewhere, make it all look nice and neat like you care. We have some cheap butt connectors that I grabbed because we're going to have to cut it all apart to reuse the parts later. This is a turn signal, 3-wire with the 3-wire pigtail. I'll show you what's going on there. We have a 2-wire, so it's just a running light and ground. These are the tools I use for crimping. They're made by Snap-on. They have the crimper, they have a cutter, and a stripper in them. I don't usually use the strippers unless I'm out in the driveway in a big hurry. Part numbers PWC57CF. And then my favorite tool for zip ties and cutting dainty stuff is the flush cut trimmers that Snap-on makes. They're 786 CF, and they're great because they don't leave the little nub on your zip ties. So the other thing we use is the 1900 series tool aid, and you just stick this guy in here and you just give it a strip. The wires are stripped. And we'll strip this guy. Okay, so to start with, we have a fused power circuit. It goes from the battery, goes down here to the switch. I put the inline fuse. I'm going to put a butt connector after I twist it. You always twist your wires. That way they're harder to pull out. Here we use heat shrink butt connectors for pretty much everything. But for this demonstration, like I said, we're just going to use the cheap ones that I had laying around. We're almost out of the cheap ones laying around. Okay, so that's my power to my relay. I've powered it. Now I'm going to ground my relay. These were already stripped, but I wanted to show you guys the stripper. So here's the ground. So now I'm going to take a green wire, because green is usually right hand turn, but in this case we're going to use it for ground. And I'm going to ground my relay. So now this relay's got power and it's got ground, and so this circuit load is going to run through the relay. That's its job, is to run through the relay and do your circuit. So we're going to hook these up. This is a 3-pin. Put dielectric grease in there. Plug this guy in. This is the part that intimidates everybody when they open up the back of their trailer because the light doesn't work. So these wires are pretty straightforward. So white is going to be the ground. Black is going to be your running light. Red is going to be stop and turn. So we'll show you how that actually happens to help you understand what's going on there. So maybe you'll be a little less intimidated or a little less confused. So I'm going to take this white wire and I'm going to hook it to my ground that's powering this relay, just to save wires. When we wire stuff, we wire this stuff all the way back to the junction box. We don't ground it with the eyelet. We cut the eyelets off, throw them away, and we ground through our junction boxes here. Okay, so now what we got to do is we're going to have to wire this. We'll wire this relay up, so when we flip this switch, it powers the wire and then sends the load out to the light. Now what we're going to do is I hooked my blue wire to my switch, and then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook my yellow wire and I'm going to signal it out to the light. So we're going to switch these a little bit. We're not going to butt connector them because we want to be able to move them around to show you what the light does. So we will take the blue one, or the yellow one, and we're going to do the running lights first. So you can see the switch is already on, obviously, because the light came on. If we can get it to hold up for you guys. So I'll touch my yellow wire. Now I'll turn my switch off and the light goes out. Light comes on. So what's happening is you have this blue wire going to here, it's signaling the relay, and then the power that's coming in the red wire that we talked about, the power is already there, and now when you flip this switch, it closes the circuit and sends it out this yellow wire. So now that's your running lights. So then all that happens when you do brakes or turn signals is you power the red wire in the light, and that makes it bright. And then if it's a turn signal, it just on, off, and that's done through the flasher. And then the brakes just power this brighter side of the light, and the running light is the running light. So you can even have, sometimes it'll just power right over the top. They just do both at the same time. So if you're doing like your brake lights, and this red light doesn't have power, then it's not going to work. So if I turn my power off, so I have no current flowing out here, then it doesn't work. So then I would tell you that either your relay is bad, your fuse is blown, or from this relay out to the light is bad. So you can check this wire. If you go to your junction box, check the junction box, that would tell you if it's good from the junction box to the light. 75% of the time it's bad from the light to the junction box. That's the most common failure. So switch on, there's your light. And then if you have a bad relay, pull the relay out. We'll do red because it's easier to see. It doesn't work, it's dead, circuit died, nothing there. So I'll put my relay back in, the holder, try to not get my ass kicked by it. So now we're back, light works. Okay, so now if my fuse blew, light doesn't work. Okay, so some people are confused as to how a fuse blows. So we'll just show you. So we'll turn on the circuit. It's on, and then it just shorts to ground and it'll blow the fuse. So the fuse snapped and blew. So now when I touch that back, it doesn't work. So what I just did by doing this is I basically simulated like a wire rubbing a frame rail, rubbing an engine block going around the corner, wherever they rub. As soon as that power touches the ground, so then it's going to blow the circuit. So hopefully that you could see the fuse blew in the video. Hope this helps you guys. Good luck with your wiring.